Continued efforts on our great sport. We're really lucky to have Mike leading the organization. That Freebird song, by the way, just a quick story. We use it for goal songs now for our national teams. If you're not familiar with that, that was spurred by a kid by the name of Jacob Fowler, a goaltender. Played on one of our national teams, and it's really caught fire, especially at the Four Nations. As a matter of fact, the band, Leonard Skinner, called them, and they were so excited that we were using it. There were some, of course, most of them are gone, the original members, but there was movement afoot to have them in Boston at the Four Nations at the end, but it did not materialize. But it's funny how things catch fire, and of course that song has resulted in a lot of success for us. We move on to our next presenter now, and awesome to have him here this morning to talk about winning the battle. And he played college hockey at the University of Maine, went on to a 10-year professional career, including right here in Columbus with the Blue Jackets for a stint, also with the New York Rangers in the NHL. And it's funny how life comes full circle. It's fun to see players who have played at our national team development program, including him, come back. And he was an assistant coach for a time period, and now he is back in his third year as one of our head coaches at the NTDP. His journey has also taken him through coaching in the USHL. A great pleasure to welcome to the stage Coach Greg Moore. Morsey.
Thank you, Fish. How's everyone doing today? I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm just going to take a second here and get the computer awake and alive. Just with a PC, sometimes it might take a hot minute. Here we are. So, winning the battle. The game's getting faster, time and space is getting smaller. I thought it'd be an opportunity this morning to talk about the physical side of the game, but when the team has possession of the puck, more times than not, I think most of us think the physical part of games on the defensive side. And I'll show a few examples of that on the defensive side, just to kind of highlight some of the areas we're not going to talk about, but they are still important in the game of hockey. Just one second, take comments off. All right. So when you think about the contact aspect on the defensive side of the puck, there's many reasons why you would use your body in contact to hit people. Number one is to separate somebody from the puck so you can get the puck back or obtain the puck. Another reason for hitting somebody is to gain or maintain a defensive body position. As F1 on the forecheck, you want to finish your hit. Sometimes you're going to beat that guy back to the net for offense, but defensively, you certainly want to make sure you beat your check up the ice so the coach isn't yelling at you as you come back to the bench. Entry against, defenseman here, even a forward, is going to box out towards the net to deny anyone's route or opportunity for secondary efforts when an opportunity goes towards your goalie. In the defensive zone, you have box outs from the low forward and the defenseman to allow the goalie to see the puck, but also to deny any secondary opportunities towards your net. Or if someone has already established position on your defenseman underneath at the crease, as the puck is shot towards the net, you can use your physicality to clear the crease and ensure that that person is not getting a secondary effort around your goalie. Again, in the defensive zone, hit, pin, stalls, ensuring that you're stopping momentum, you're getting somebody's hips up into the glass, denying them an opportunity to make a second play, allowing your second quick defenseman to come in and grab the puck, and stalling out their momentum to allow you to retain the puck and transition back to offense. Doc's loving it, but I threw that clip in there. It's an old one, but hitting and physicality brings energy to your bench, energy to your fans, and momentum for your team. So from a defensive standpoint, there's a lot of value to being physical. Now I want to talk about the time and space that's being taken away from forwards, how fast the game's becoming, and how you need to use your body and leverage your body to create offense with and without the puck. So in today's presentation, we're going to talk about those battles, the mindset of it, and as a coach, how you present the material to your athlete, from an individual standpoint in the team, how important it is that you convince them to engage and attack and get to the inside as quickly as you can, where a lot of youth hockey players right now, when they gain possession of the puck, are looking to escape and find the negative ice and the soft ice to avoid contact. Body position, puck protection, skill execution under high pressure, which the best in the world are really good at. And I'll sprinkle in a process that has followed me from Chicago Steel to Toronto to what we do with the development program now, is the progression of how we individualize those skills and put them through a model from skill to practice to game transfer through our program. First thing is the mindset, convincing your players to embrace the physicality. It's not a barrier. You want them to engage in everything that's around them. You want them to build confidence, being able to do that based on the environment you throw at them within your skills, your practice, and hopefully game transfer. And then inside of that, as they get comfortable with the contact, they'll be better at anticipating and making decisions under pressure using those skills. So we're first going to look at the without the puck. We have possession as a team. How am I using my body to leverage position? Winning the puck line, first and foremost. When the puck's not in the hands of either team, how are we gaining the puck line of our opponent to get that first touch and gain possession? Picks and interference, how to create and manipulate time and space for your puck carrier on your team or on the ice. And establishing body position, more times than not, that's really at the net, as I know you guys have heard a lot about that this week. This first example is simply a 50-50 puck. Puck's going to the corner, you have two opponents who are going to go for a race with the puck, and it's not simply wanting to go to a straight line to the puck. You want to go to your opponent's puck line first before you establish position and get that puck. Here you can see the Tampa player, he gets body position, he gets through his hands, and I'm going to have a lot of freeze frames in this exact scenario where a player is in an opposite weight shift. He's getting his body, the midline of his hips, his chest, his shoulders, right through the stick, hands, and arms of the opponent to gain that position. And then through that, the good players in the world are able to come out of that, create separation, and be able to extend that play. So getting inside of contact with the puck, separating yourself, and extending that play is the real big topic that we're talking about today. So that's one part, 50-50 puck. Now you have opponents, while we have possession off the puck, who are going to fight a battle to the net, and they're going to be dealt with wide sticks, hard early box outs, and they've got to use deception and changing direction to get around somebody. They might have to use a spin to roll off on that contact, but just highlighting how hard it is to battle and get to a net. And you can see here the net front player is spinning, and I call it an offensive box out. He is turning himself downhill facing towards the net and using his backside, his back to box out offensively in a position where he gets first touch on that puck and can get any rebounds that are coming downhill. Face-offs, an important part of the game. There's a 50-50 puck. This is the one time where the game's at a standstill. Players have to be on their toes. As that puck drops, wingers should be immediately diving into that pocket, winning that puck line of their opponent in case that puck is laying there. Here, Trucker comes in, puck's laying there, he gets contact, he's using his body to win that 50-50 puck, he bumps it back and gets possession. That happens over and over and over again in every game. Every possession matters in trying to increase the percentages of your team controlling the game. Here in the defensive zone, we got defensemen. We win the puck to the corner, board side demons getting his stick wide towards the opponent, boxing him out, interfering in a legal way to buy time for Werenski to get that puck, and now he can have a clear skate rather than having to make a play and they get out clean. Another example where the inside winger, Trucker again in this case, is using his body to leverage through this guy's hands, through his stick, interfering, also available to win a puck that's in the pocket, and it's because of that interference, it buys that split second to allow Austin to get this shot off and get a good scoring chance. As games get faster and the time and space is being taken away from you, it's so important to get that edge any way you can. Cutoffs and holdups, we're going back for possession of the puck. Players off the puck are holding guys up, interfering in a legal way to allow him to have more time and space as he goes back. And you have a defenseman again who's winning a puck line, who's getting his body through the hands and stick of his opponent, getting him off balance and allowing him to control the puck on the outside. Another retrieval, now this is the defenseman that's getting his stick wide, making the player have to go through a wider space to get around him, but that little holdup allows enough time and space after his D partner wins that puck line to allow him to get that first touch. He ends up slipping it to Boldy, but that's F2 for Canada. Probably would have been there to blow that up on Boldy if he had, the defenseman had not found that interference to pick and buy time and space. Off of entries, A kick out, the driver skating right at the strong side defenseman, creating a momentary pick to allow a player to get to the inside and find more opportunity to score. A little bit of a lucky bounce here. The replay was pretty interesting to see, but again, this was our U18 team at Worlds. We're kicking out, we're driving at that strong side defenseman to create time and space for the wall kick out to get inside and get a more interior shot for a scoring chance. In the offensive zone, a few more examples of these same concepts. Here's that position that I'm going to continue to highlight. Getting your body balanced and stacked over one leg in protection of the puck, allowing your foot to knee to hip and shoulder all in one alignment. It is probably one of the hardest skills in hockey to do, and even the best 16, 17-year-olds we have in the program really struggle with this skill with nothing around them. Just them simply trying to do it themselves and with a puck, not in any kind of environment. There's McDavid protecting the puck. Now I kept this going because we have a couple more concepts. Someone again working off the puck to get downhill and try and get himself tucked underneath and using his body to leverage position. McDavid cuts back. LA in this situation is a man-on-man D zone, and scissors and switches will help build offensive gaps and give puck carriers time and space. So there's your subtle pick that buys time for Draisaitl to get a puck to the net, and then guys are coming down and in the rebound, and the initial player who was tucked underneath and fought for that position screened the goalie to create that offense. Here's a similar situation, but with a defenseman attacking down, he kicks out, creates that subtle pick to buy time and space for his teammate. He starts to work back inside. And when you give good players time and space, they're going to be creative with it. And then here again, there's another example of players off the puck fighting through a box out. He doesn't get there, but it's the initial D-man who sets the pick and comes downhill into the rebound. So those are some really similar concepts in terms of without the puck and possession of the puck. Now we're going to talk about when the player has the puck, and that's going to be the bigger focus point, especially the puck protection I just talked about with the freeze frame on McDavid. Attacking through hands and sticks are more of an aggressive mentality. Again, that mindset that I got possession of the puck, I'm going to attack my defender and I'm going to go through him. I'm going to engage in contact purposely, maybe to manipulate his toes, get him off balance, create separation again, and then extend that play. Not the passive mindset of I'm going to find negative space, I'm going to run away from my opponent, all of a sudden everything closes down on me, and anytime I get into contact, I'm not able to extend that play, I'm off balance, and I lose the puck. And then preserving space and reverse hits, simply engaging in contact before the puck gets to you to allow yourself to have space to attack. There'll be a couple of good examples, especially with Austin Matthews. And then offensive box outs and net front, which I just spoke on in an earlier clip. In breakouts, again, another cutoff, getting in the way, buying time for a D-man to go back. Defenseman winning the puck line, like I mentioned earlier in those clips. He gets first touch, keep the puck moving, it's clean. But we highlight often with our D-men the importance of getting to that puck lane first and not going straight at the puck to ensure that we get that first touch. And again, it's a bump. We find slip middle, good skate on touch, we get off the wall and we get through. Here's a really good one. He's going to fight for that body position to ensure he gets that first touch. He wins the puck line, he gets through that player's hands. Now he didn't get a clean touch, but we have the second quick. We have someone in there getting that puck, we bump to the weak side, we rim to the weak side, and we get out clean. Entries. The importance of getting to the net and attacking inside right away, not being afraid to initiate this contact. And again, you can see that body position where you're stacking all your weight over one leg, the other leg's out. You can use that knee to push out and protect against the stick. And look at the defender's body position. When they get into these positions and you get your players confident at raking right through their hands, they're in a vulnerable spot, they're not on balance, they're not strong on their stick, and the advantage goes to the player with the puck. Here's another example of Matt Boldy from Minnesota Wild, where he gets it, he drives through, and again, getting comfortable, getting through players' hands, and attacking inside right away and being a threat, not allowing the defending team to get into defensive posture. Here's an example of fourth man in the rush, active D-man on the backside, getting dot wide, same thing. He's getting back pressure, he's getting comfortable, getting through his players' hands, he's getting a shot on net with guys crashing the crease. Here's another wide drive. Now he's going to attempt to get to the net, but now he's getting deep into the zone. There's a second layer of defense towards the net, and Austin knows he does not have the opportunity to go directly to the net like the last couple of clips. So he's using his physical contact with the puck to now preserve space on the outside. especially as a lefty on this side, you want to push inside so that you can build space to get back to your forehand and make higher level plays and extend that possession. Now he's created that separation from that defender, and now he has time and space to make a play to the inside. Here's another play with one of our players this past season. He's getting through the hands. Obviously, he can get to the net if he wants to. He uses delay to final 8-person, good little flash screen with a forward underneath. And then even breakaways from back pressure from behind, getting comfortable staying in the puck line and protecting it with back pressure and be able to create offense in transition. Another example here on a breakaway. Again, defenseman or defense person is in a vulnerable position, reaching, being comfortable getting through hands and using your body to leverage getting inside position to create offense. Offensive zone. You look at Brady down the net, he's going to use a push-off to create space. He's using his physicality, his body to now create that space for that touch. Now he doesn't skate on touch, change sides, he actually cuts back, puts him in a situation again where he's got to protect the puck. Now in this situation, his head's down, you'd like a player to keep their head up, and you'll see with our players in the skill sessions, I'm going to show just how difficult they have, how much difficulty they have just keeping body posture when there's nothing around them. Obviously, it gets much harder even for the elite players in an environment where there's hard pressure coming at them. Here's another similar example. Here's going to be your reverse hit to preserve space between you and the wall so you can get that quality touch. He preserves it, and actually uses the bump and the force to gain momentum. And now he's right at the puck protection. He's stacking his leg, his weight's over his foot. He's using his knee to protect the puck against his stick. And again, he extends that possession and cycles it down. Here's a defenseman doing the same thing in motion in the offensive zone. Cuts back. Now this is a really impressive player, best in the world, you could argue. And this is the mentality, this visual, that pressure's coming at me, but that doesn't matter. My mindset is I have the confidence and skill set to attack through pressure, put him on my back, not avoid him at all costs. It's I'm going through you, I'm going to make a play to get to the inside, and obviously when you can do that, you're going to now drag attention once you beat a player to you. It's going to open up your other teammates for scoring opportunities. Here's another one with Austin. Foxy's going to come in, he's going to spin off, and that mentality that I'm getting to the net right away. I'm not going to stay on the outside, I'm not going to float to the corner, I'm going to get to the net. Nice little pick by Nyes as well in net front because he's battling off the puck. Here's a second look at it from a different angle. He spins, he uses the contact to propel momentum for him to get off the wall, and then you see the pick at the net front to allow Austin to gain that interior space. Now defenseman in the offensive zone, again, straight line, whereabouts, the puck's in motion, I get it on the yellow, but Foxy is going to work to that puck line and get his body between his opponent and the puck first before he touches the puck, and then he's going to be able to come out from it, use that bump to propel, he gets off the wall, we have good support in the middle of the rink. Here's another one with Foxy, he's going to get down, he's going to, again, surround the puck, he's going to get his body between the puck and his opponent in that puck line. He's going to get off the wall, he's going to extend it, it's going to go back low to high. You guys are going to fight for their position underneath at the net for another scoring chance. So in the teaching progression, it's important, as you all know, you're all coaching at different levels, to have age-appropriate skills and development. I do think this is one area, whether it's men's or women's, getting through hands, getting off the wall, using the physicality of your body to own time and space and be hard to play against on the offensive side of the puck. It builds confidence, it builds resiliency, and it's just putting them in that environment as much as you can and repeat it and practice to build those habits. So the progression I like to work through in a skill session is isolating the one skill. Then you want to pair it with another skill, blend it with some pressure or another variable that's going to change the environment. You're going to get into practice and start sequencing patterns and drills or small area games to allow them to try and implement that skill, and then the outcome of forced recall in a game, hopefully that weekend. If you work at it throughout the week, it's impressive to see just how quickly athletes can apply these things right into the game setting. So I'm going to try and explain and show that process a little bit here through what we do at the NCDP. Here's a player in blue. He's working on that puck protection skill, getting the puck outside his midline. We're asking them to get all their balance on one foot and trying as if to have pressure from the right side. You can see here, feet are planted, A-frame, balance of his weight is on both feet. He hasn't quite gotten it yet. This is the first step of a progression without the puck. I kind of skipped for time's sake to go right to the puck. So now, first it's without the puck where it's isolated. Now we're pairing it with another skill, which is stick handling. And again, this player has both feet in A-frame. Even the best in the country really struggle simply by keeping the puck on their stick and getting their body into that weight transfer before you even start asking them to look interior and take their eyes off the puck. So you really got to start slow, and you've got to give them the reps over time to allow them to get comfortable with it. And it's a 2-year process. Here, the player is transferring his weight on the wrong foot, still working through it. We're using the pad to visually or physically give them that feeling of separating the puck from their body and separating their upper and lower half. Now they're on the backhand. Now we take the pad away because that was a longer glide. The tire now becomes a little bit easier where it's less space that they have to protect from. Again, here the player is getting the puck out, he's balancing on the wrong foot, and I purposely want to throw in clips of players not doing it right because in the reality is this is the starting point. The best players in the country really struggle with this, and it's something we constantly have to work at over and over again. We're just getting them now, before it was just handling the puck themselves, now we're adding a pass and giving them more tasks inside of the skill. And now we're going to add a little bit of token pressure from a coach. So you can see here on the catch, now they're starting to get a little bit more comfortable with it. And sometimes naturally in the environment, when you add a certain variable that they're comfortable with in the game, they just do it automatically. You ask them to get into that body posture without anybody around and they get confused a little bit. Now you put them in a realistic environment and they're like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I do that all the time. But they're still uncomfortable when they get the bump from the coach, but that's why we start with the token pressure. I'll let these play out so you can just kind of see how the drill build works. The passer becomes the next shooter. The shooter then becomes the token cone on the inside. And now we're a little bit towards the blending and sequencing of getting through hands. We want to get comfortable, getting that puck under pressure. We're attacking inside, assuming we're going to find a second layer of pressure. Really good job here, getting through the coach's arm and stick. They're going to put a puck to space through the second layer, pick it up on the other side. Again, there's that posture. Now we're adding the player as the token pressure, and we're wanting them to have a little bit more engagement. Sometimes it's on the player who's adding the pressure to ensure that they're doing a good job really getting in there and giving them the space to do it. You can see here on some of these, they don't get good contact. We want them now, because the player has padding on, to, there you go, really get through them. Now we're go from token to more pressure as they get comfortable. Both these scenarios and drill builds could be cutbacks in the offensive zone, a wide entry, delay, cut up to finding a late option, or attacking inside yourself. And again, just like McDavid's clip, spinning off, getting to the inside, knowing you might be met with a second layer, and then finding your way through that. Again, it's more token pressure, but we're trying to sequence the things that they're going to find in the game. So now we're going to get into some drills. First one, through the hand shooter. You got players on either side. The player who just shot is going to come up and stop at the blue line. The player in line is going to pass him the puck and he's going to bump it right back, and the two of them are going to go simultaneously. Both ends are going at the same time, but they're both separate from each other as the drill just happens at one end. Player stops, he bumps it back, and now he's just going to get through the hands. And now we're in practice after skills, putting them in an environment. It's more early to practice where we're getting shots for the goalie, but we're continuing the progression of them getting comfortable in this space. Stop, bump it back. And there's a lot of ownership too on the player who's giving the token pressure to help the development environment for the player who's getting the rep. I'll let these play out. But you get the idea, we're just simply warming up the goalies. We're continuing the progression of getting them in that space. Here's the ladder sequence. You're gonna have both ends going at the same time. One player is gonna skate halfway Sorry, the pauses aren't showing up. Players are going to skate halfway, and they're not going to pass the puck until the halfway point because you want them closely connected to their teammate once they get going up the ice. And they're going to get through the coach's hands, and then they're going to go 2-on-0. And in this drill on this day, we set up another coach on the inside of the offensive blue line, which you'll see we're working on a kick out, driving at the D-men, creating a subtle interference to allow the player to get off the wall. So pass is made, this player is getting off the wall through the coach's hands. They're going to get connected at the offensive blue line. He's going to kick out. Now he's going to interfere and pick what would be strong side defenseman on an entry 4. That's going to allow the kick out option to get off the wall, attack the inside, and get a shot. And now they're both coming downhill into rebound. Here's another look at it. Through the hands. Kick out, subtle pick, get off the wall, and shot. As soon as that shot's taken, I'm blowing the whistle to start the next group up the ice to keep the momentum going. So a little bit of the progression of how we're putting them in that environment and then how we're getting that into practice, more starter drills. Here's a small area game where we're working on winning the 50-50 puck line for your opponent. Essentially is a square zone. They'll have the space to the far post to play 2-on-2. A coach will have already placed a puck a few feet off the wall. It'll be a stationary puck. We're just trying to simplify the environment for them. And then once the whistle's blown, it's just live 2-on-2 in that space, from top of the circles to the far post, trying to score. If the opponent gets the puck, they have to go tag the outside of the dot lane before they can go attack the net again. In the example here, we didn't have that in place, and you'll see that the opponent just kind of takes the puck and goes right to the net, which wasn't difficult after he defended. Here's an example, whistle blows, players are just trying to get right through the hands of their opponent to win that puck line. Again, they're in that body posture of puck protection and stacking all of their weight over one leg inside of contact, and now he's got the puck. Here's another example of one of our more undersized players against our biggest player, getting through his hands, completely cutting off his ability to use his stick, owning that position, and getting first touch on that puck. Here's the drill playing out. And even for the players off the puck on the backside, there's still an element of trying to win body position so you can be second quick to the puck offensively or defensively. A little bit of puck protection. Here comes the contact, knocks them off. And that was the example where they're defending, they get the puck. We made a rule change where they would then have to go tag up here before they can go. That allows the two defenders to get inside and keep them on the defensive side of the puck. Coach spots a new puck because the puck went out of the zone. Again, opposite weight shift, puck protection, trying to get through the hands. This would be later in practice. We would do this drill after we just stack and sequence the slow progression of the one skill that we're trying to target. There's obviously a lot of other things that we can work on in these same drills, but for today's sake and the progression, staying with the same theme. And now here's a player who rolled off and is now trying to fight his way to the net, uses physicality to get a rebound position on his opponent. So that was a little bit of a square environment or space for the players, starting with a 50-50. We start a lot of our drills with 50-50 pucks. Now here's another drill where it's a little bit longer and skinny. It's changing the environment. You're going to get some different looks on it, but essentially starts out the same way. It's going to be a 50-50 puck on the whistle. Other players are going to come out. This player in the blue jersey is going to work to win the puck line first and get body position and get through his hands. And I like the mentality right away that we're going to the net. This was not a retreat situation. We're going to attack the net and try and get on the inside right away, and there's a goal for. Again, 50-50 puck. Player in the white jersey gets right through the hands and immediately gets to the net. Gets through the defender, playing fast, being hard to play against, and not allowing the defending team to get comfortable or get defensive position. In the transition, as the game is going on, puck might be shot out, puck might be shot in the net. The coach has the freedom to spot a puck wherever he wants. In this situation, purposely gave a puck to a breakaway, and now you're getting that environment where you're on a breakaway, you're being chased from behind. You got to keep your body in position to protect it as you're going towards the net. He doesn't get a scoring chance off, but he throws it back out. Again, 50-50 puck. Now we're transitioning again. He's getting through the hands. And you're putting them in smaller environments where they can't run and hide from the contact. They're forced to be inside of it. And now we're going to shrink it even more. And I know Coach Granato's here already this morning. This was one of his staple drills that I learned from him in my first year of coaching. where it's just 3-on-3 in a very confined space. You can't run and hide from the contact and the physicality, and it helps the players, especially at a young age, get comfortable at it because the levels in which they came from, they have plenty of time and space. It's easy for them to get the puck in a void, and in this environment, there's no chance that's going to be the case. Here, 50-50 puck, you can see they're shoulder to shoulder, win the puck line, a little bit of reverse hit to preserve space between you and the wall. An immediate throw into the net. Going to get a puck behind the corner, pressure's on you right away. Apologize for the technical difficulty. It's a good moment to take a recess.